The Unused subs are primed for New Zealand Derby week, waiting patiently for kick-off at Tyler Street Sport. The bench is a busy one today, featuring Jacob Spoonley, the guile of Paul Eiffel, myself, Goran Paladin, and shortly we'll be joined by Emiliano Tade, player and assistant coach of Auckland FC's ProLeague side. Gents, we are in Derby week. It's the third New Zealand Derby of this season. It's the sixth one in history. We've got the Wellington Phoenix, who are aiming to just pick up a win, get their first point in a derby, and Auckland looking to extend. And what I thought we might do today is make a case for each side winning. Let's start first of all with the Wellington Phoenix. Let's make an argument for their first ever win in the New Zealand Derby. Jacob Spoonley, take it away.
It's even worse than you said. They haven't had a lead in the derby yet. So there we go. The case for the Phoenix going ahead is that 5 times. And I'd say in three or four of those games, they've been really competitive. They need to ensure that they don't concede early. That said, an average of 4.5 goals have been scored in Sky Stadium, or Henry Stadium now, over the course of the Phoenix's last 5 games, I think it is. So there's going to be goals, which is huge. And I think the Phoenix, in a shootout, touch wood, they have the ability on an individual basis to score goals. And I think that is where an avenue to a Phoenix victory this weekend lies.
Potentially no Sarpreet Singh with a knee injury.
Alex Rufer returning as well, yeah.
Ify, how do the Phoenix beat the Auckland FC side?
The power of prayer. I think the big man's going to step in
we're
here.
Counting on religion, are we?
No, I'm only joking. I'm only joking. Look, it can be done, but it's going to be difficult. I think Sarpreet's got to find a way to battle through it. If it's not something that's going to cause him any long-term issues, strap that knee up and get yourself out there, because the Phoenix are going to need you. I think a lot is going to come down to who Chiefy decides to play up top. Is he going to play 2 10s again? I think 2 10s can work with the right guy up top. So I think it's really important that the Phoenix get the ball into Khartoum and Singh if they're fit and they're feeding somebody. I'd like to see Miluznic, because he's lightning quick. He will cause a lot of problems for that defence of Auckland FC that has been a little bit more vulnerable this season than last. So I think you should try and stretch them early. To Jacob's point, can they go ahead? Look, they've never been ahead. If they can go ahead, who knows where that might take them. But I think it will be a case of if they don't and they go behind early, that's a hell of a hole to get out of.
My reason for the Phoenix winning this weekend is the guys who are unaffected by history.
Yeah.
And so that's Bill Tuiloma, that's Sander Khartoum, that's Sarpreet Singh, right? These guys who have no idea really what the other players are experiencing, have experienced over the last year and a bit. They come in, they're fresh, they don't give a toss about what's happened. They just want to win this game and win it for the state of their season more than anything else. They are 4 points outside the 6. It's something we keep on banging on about week after week, guys.
Got to win.
They've got to win. And at some point, they're knocking on the door is going to burst open. And I think on the back of those 3 guys, that's where they make their hay.
Question for you.
Yes.
Bill Tuiloma at set-piece time. Is that the way that the Phoenix separate themselves?
Well, isn't the stat, and you guys might know better than me, the stat is that the Wellington Phoenix have scored 10 goals from set-piece. And so they're just further weaponising their set-piece arsenal, if you like, by introducing Bill Tuiloma. We saw that at the weekend. He was heavily involved in both goals. So there's a real opportunity, Ify, for the Knicks to take advantage of some potentially fragile Auckland FC defence.
I think it's also weaponising Bill and his potency at set pieces, because this is a guy that has been used at set pieces wherever he's been, Ify.
Oh, look, for sure. And obviously Auckland have not played against Bill before. So I think they've got to use that to advantage. I think if they're smart, and if Chiefy gets the centre forward right, and if on the day the set pieces are right, they're right in it. I think it's a bit of a coin toss. Auckland will be the slight favourites, I'm sure, but don't write the Phoenix off just yet.
Phoenix are unpredictable. Auckland, you know what you're getting. Phoenix are unpredictable.
Well, we do know what we're getting with Auckland, because it's been win-win, win-win-win. They're going for their second straight sweep of the Phoenix. Lawyer Jacob Spoonley, Make your argument, state your case for why Auckland can sweep them for the second straight season.
Going Bill Belichick here, and all the strengths that we've just talked about with the Wellington Phoenix can be managed and nullified by Auckland. Sarpreet Singh, meet Louis Verstrada. And I reckon Auckland can safely say, look, we'll manage the game for the first 30 minutes, we'll manage the intensity. We know we can go ahead at some point through many different means. So there's that uncertainty with Wellington. There's certainty and composed and a portfolio of performance for Auckland, I feel.
Can't really disagree with any of that. I do think a lot's going to come down to how the Phoenix deal with Cosgrove and Randall. I think they're looking very, very potent. People are saying they're not taking their chances, and yet they sit, I think, joint top or second in the Golden Boot race, and it's Jesse's second season at this level. So he's obviously on to bigger and better things in the Scottish Premiership, and there's a reason why. And I think he's just starting to show people what he can do. So they're going to find it difficult. He's a quiet kid, but I know he'll be wanting to show the Phoenix what they let go. And I know they didn't let him go, so to speak, but he was on their doorstep. So I know that kind of drives him. I think if they can nullify those two, it goes a long way. But then you've got Lockie Brook, and I think Lockie Brook over the last couple of weeks has looked like he's just about to come back into a little bit of form. So you've got three guys at the top there that can cause a lot of problems for the Phoenix.
Both Jesse Randall and Francis de Vries, I think, are in the top 5 for chances created, either for themselves as a shot, creating a chance for somebody else, or overall being involved in the build-up to a chance.
Which means a really busy day for Tim Payne,
yes,
who hasn't been great, Spoon.
I thought he was good coming on against Adelaide when the Phoenix built back into that game. But since then, yes, definitely somebody that I think, particularly in a derby, up against Auckland, up against where he's from, I think there might be some motivation in there for Payne.
Oh, for sure. He's an absolute winner. He's a warrior, so he's not going to want to be beat. But he's coming up against some fantastic players in form, like we've just talked about. I think the bonus for Auckland is to get those sort of stats and numbers from somebody in your back four. That is pretty much unheard of. So when you've got somebody higher up the pitch like a Jesse Randall doing that, that's kind of normal. But for Franny doing what he's doing, that's so hard for Tim to stop. There's going to be times when he's going to be 2v1. And those two are obviously making very good decisions at the minute. So Chiefy's got to find a way to give Tim Payne a little bit of help down that side, in my opinion.
Lay it on the line. The man or the moment that is going to define the third New Zealand derby and wrap it up for whoever. Ify, you're first.
I'm going Jesse Randall to twist the knife in a little bit more. One more time before he leaves for Scotland. I think he'll be the difference maker, and I think they'll get it done. I think it's going to be a tight one, but I think he'll get it done in a tight game.
Dick move giving Ify the first check.
Now, what are you going to say?
I have to go. So if Ify's going Auckland, I'm going Wellington. I'm going to say Alex Rufer, the man that was so influential when the Phoenix were at 11 and then went down to 10 up in Auckland last time. Basically pulled them back into that match. And I think you got a sense of what it means for him, knowing that his side can go at least toe-to-toe with Auckland or see them at eye level. And I just keep on remembering that celebration, smash the ball into the net, and then off to smash the hoardings. Loved it. Loved the passion. Hopefully we get to see that this weekend.
Well, look, I'm going to back Jacob Spoonley and the black and yellow. I reckon they get their first win. It's Wellington Phoenix, finally, over Auckland FC. And the reason why?
Gone.
They just bloody well have to.
They just bludgeon their way
They
over the line.
just have to.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty good spot to bring in our guest this week on the Unused Subs, Emiliano Tade from the OFC ProLeague team out of Auckland FC. Who wins the New Zealand derby and why?
Thanks, guys, for having me. I have to start.
The media training's kicking in.
I have to start. Okay, well, thank you very much. Yeah. And it depends how we want to see it. Obviously, you asked me that question to put me in the spot, but it's not just because of that. I do believe we are playing a lot better football. I do believe we are in a better space in many ways. Also, what plays a lot in the mind and for the game is what has happened in the past. When you haven't even gotten a draw in ever, that already has a lot of weight on that, right? So yeah, I think it's
Mate, you
Very
could
clear, my
have just
answer.
told him to fuck off, and that would have.
No.
He's not as vulgar as you are, Spoon. He's a bit
Not
more
yet.
considered and a lot nicer with his comments. Mind you, if you
It
knew
would have
me,
been therapeutic for me.
yeah, if you knew me for the same amount of time that Jacob's known me, you probably would have told me to fuck off.
Yeah, but even though as well, even though we're very different, we were
Yes.
born on the same day,
Yes.
on the same year.
What?
Yeah, he's probably older by a few hours,
And
purely
And a
because I was
year?
born in Argentina. Yeah,
Yes.
same year, same.
And do you know
same
what's
day.
weird? Same profession off the field, same training.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's weird.
Very weird.
And in Argentina, this guy trained as a lawyer.
I know.
So
I know.
Indignant.
But then you were smart and you got out of that profession because you know what happens to people that train to be
They
lawyers.
look like this. They end up looking like this. This is what happens, I feel. It drags you down, mate. So you're playing in the Pro League now, but A-League-wise, how close did you come?
I had a chat a few years ago. Probably you might remember we were at Auckland City at that time for my club from the A-League, and I was very close to sign, but it was an injury replacement at that time, and I just didn't want a contract just to replace the player. I wanted to have some goals or KPIs or objectives on the contract to see if I meet that, then I'll get the contract automatically renewed, but it never happened, so I didn't take it.
Apart from that one guy that you brought into the Phoenix, you know, the worst
Oh, yeah,
trialist
actually.
ever, you've actually got a pretty good eye for talent. So as an independent assessor of Emiliano, Paul Eiffel, do you think he had what it took to become an A-League player like 3, 4, 5 years ago?
Can we rule Emmy out of the player, Ify? Can we do that
No, it
officially?
wasn't. No, look, I'll tell you, it definitely wasn't Emmy. I've known Emmy a long time. I've got a lot of time for him. So when Emmy will tell you, Emmy came into the Phoenix when I was there, and spoke barely any English at the time. They actually trialled him out of position. So I want to ask him what his thoughts on the trial were, because it was quite interesting. But I remember thinking, because we didn't have too many trialists come in at the time, and if we did, they weren't very good. And Emmy could play, but from what I remember, he was playing as a defensive midfielder in the trial.
What?
So yeah, that's what I remember. I could be completely wrong. I'm quite old, so my memory's not great. So Emmy, tell me your thoughts on that one.
There's 2010. That was when I first got to New Zealand, and bear in mind you have to put these things into context. I didn't speak any English, nothing at all. I think I only played 4 games in the Winter League, but I was playing second division Winter League, and I played against Wellington Olympic Chatham Cup. We beat them my score, and after that is when they called me to go and do the trials.
Right.
So obviously I was washing dishes at that time at a restaurant. So I wasn't eating properly, I wasn't training properly, like there's all these things, right? I was like a pure backpacker at that time. And I got a call, Paul was there, and it was all the Brazilians. There were like 2 or 3 Brazilians there.
Yeah, Daniel, Diego,
Yeah. So one of them used to pick me up to take me to trainings and whatnot. And they put me there, and so all the attacking players were incredible. Obviously, like they had Paul, they had the Brazilian guys. There was like 2 or 3 of us that went on trials, in that week, but they told all of them to stop coming on the first training, and I kept training for like another 2 or 3 weeks, but they were playing me completely out of position. It's more like a defensive midfielder.
And I suppose you couldn't communicate to them effectively
No, I
enough.
couldn't
Like, I'm
defend.
out of position, man. Like, sort me
It
out.
doesn't matter about the communication, right? I couldn't defend.
I was going to say,
wasn't about
you
it. It
haven't
was-
really been known for backtracking and
Football
defensive
language.
instincts.
Football language is pretty easy. You know, like sometimes you don't even need to talk. You can play blindfold, and then
Oh,
that's
so
it.
it's more like sort of
wasn't
gestures
about
like, you
like-
come in here and I'll push up.
Just give me the ball up there. Man.
Emmy's first instinct when defending was to argue.
I was chasing shadows, mate.
No, but it was funny from my end, because obviously he'd come in. None of us knew anything about Emmy, and then he'd been playing as a 6, like we said, out of position, and then all of a sudden, once he'd gone back to his club, he just started scoring goals left, right, and centre, and obviously got a move up to the top league, and then it was many years later that he starred for Auckland City, and I always think back to my time, and I think, why did we not actually give him a go in the position that he was meant to be playing in, because who knows? I mean, there was plenty of times where we were short up top, and he clearly was, one of the best. I think the best that's played. I think him and Garb and Coughlin over the years have been the best two strikers in the National League, and I find it a surprise that neither of them found their way in when you look at some of the others that did. I mean, I know Roy got his opportunity, Benji Tutori as well, but I think, I love Benji, big fan of Benji, but I think as a footballer, Emmy was far superior than Benji. So it would have been nice for him to come in for a year and see where what had happened from there.
There was always a feeling, I feel, at our end that we had some really good players, but because they weren't kind of within that Wellington ecosystem, you had to be unbelievable to get into the Phoenix team. Now, Ivan, I think, could have easily played A-League football, and I think it would have got on really well in the dressing room. But there were other players like Mario Berlin. Who else were we talking about before? Who else was a player that could have played in the A-League, do you reckon?
But the thing with this is most of these players were counters, like they were visa players, right? Like Mario Berlin was one, Angel Berlanga, Takuya Iwata, then you start going John Irvin.
Oh, John Irving should have played.
Oh, John was very good.
Yeah, John Irvin. But then
he's one of the best I played against. In the National League, he was one of the best.
Ryan DeVries, top three Auckland City players of all time, in my mind. He was unbelievable.
Unreal.
Cam Lindsay said the same.
Ryan DeVries, I don't know what was his passport status.
Yeah, I think he was a Kiwi at the time.
Yeah, so that is something I never understood.
The fact that overseas players...
Yeah, well, the fact that you have someone local, like Ryan DeVries, and never got a chance to play for the Phoenix, for example.
Yeah. But because he's not plying his trade offshore, and he doesn't look as attractive, does he? Because he's in your own backyard, and you don't want to take a chance on them.
Flight of the Conchords. You have to go overseas to prove yourself, to then come back and be good.
He was a local. He was a local, you know. But all these players that we're naming, we were all from overseas. So that's already it's a hard one to take, right?
Yeah.
But there's plenty of players. But the ones that did good or really good, and they are very, very good, like Tim Payne, for example, was one, right? And he got his chance. But from the Kiwi players, I would go Kala Makawa, very good player. He got his chance. Tiara Fai got his chance. You went there. But then Ryan DeVries.
I don't know if we can mention Jacob Spoonley in
that.
Yes,
I will.
You've undercut your argument there.
I will.
But even, I mean, Tama as well. Tama could have easily gone down to the
Tama T. But then, like Ryan DeVries was someone like a big one for me. You know?
That's a big question mark that you've always had about Ryan.
Yes.
Well, look, despite the fact that the A-League never really worked out, you've got your professional opportunity with Auckland FC. How are you enjoying the OFC Pro League, where 2 circuit series rounds in, you've had the first one in Auckland, you've just come back from Papua New Guinea before heading off to South Melbourne. What's it like for you as, an old-timer?
Senior statesman,
surrounded by youth in this professional outfit for Auckland FC?
I'm really enjoying it. I think it was about time that Auckland had a professional football club, and I look at it from many points of view. One is the football part. Yes, very good. I think it's very similar to what it used to be the Champions League, right? Like the old league. The best part is being in a professional environment, right? That changes completely everything, like the approach. It changes the way you turn up to trainings, to the sessions, to the games and whatnot. But then you have something that I think it's very valuable, which is playing for a professional club like Auckland FC. And I'm not saying this just because I'm at the club.
Having the first team above them,
exactly.
Pathway.
You have a club that has been established and it's been around for, like 2 years. And then on the first year, they win the league. That sets the standards and the benchmark for everyone. Whether you play for the A-League, whether you play for the ProLeague, whether you're on the reserves or you go to the development center, it doesn't matter. Like they set the standards for the club, and you can breathe that when you walk into the club, right? Like, and that goes to everyone. That goes not only the players but also the people that work in that space, right? That is something that I've been, like enjoying probably the most.
I think this is something that you touched on regularly, mate. Having been in the building, I don't think people, perhaps at the amateur level, but maybe outside the environment, appreciate you get in there and there's an intention to it. They
recruited so well from top to bottom. I think they went in early, and Terry McFlynn, Steve Corica, guys that have won the league as player and coach, as part of a really big club, and then you go and get Danny Hay. Like, everybody knows what Danny Hay's about. Everybody knows what Jonathan Gould's about. These guys are winners, so there was no surprise when that filtered down, and then they managed to sign players that they might not have necessarily got if they didn't have that group of people above them. But you're getting a phone call from Steve Corica, who's been there and done it. You're getting a phone call as a goalkeeper from Jonathan Gould, who's just come back from overseas in the Premier League. So it's an easy sell, in my opinion. One, I suppose, question from me to you, Emmy. We've spoken over the last couple of years, and I know you've been trying to get into coaching and hang your boots up. And I've said, I'll tell you this, I've told him, keep playing, because I think you can learn so much whilst you're a senior player, because your game will change. And to be afforded this position where now you can look after the younger ones but still ply your trade, I think you're in the real sweet spot where you're going to get a real good coaching education in a professional environment. How's it been trying to kind of manage a bit of both, look after yourself, keep yourself fit, and then look after some of the younger players that you're trying to mentor on a daily basis?
That's a great question, Paul. And yes, we have been talking about that, Pa. And I remember asking you how was your transition and stuff. So, and interestingly, we were talking with Jacob just before we started.
It's the second time the question's been asked today, Ify, so.
But it's good. It's good. It's great.
Just let Ify have his time in the sun, mate.
But it's great. Like, doing a podcast is kind of like a therapy, I think we all should go in life at least once into a podcast. Everyone in the world.
Fair enough, mate.
Well, I don't know, man. We've been doing this for about, I think this is number 42. I feel like I still need therapy.
42?
Yeah, I can tell.
I need therapy. I need therapy because of this podcast.
Yeah.
Physiotherapy after lugging the stuff up and down the stairs all day.
But that's a great question. And look, I've been enjoying it in many ways. Again, I think the last 2-3 years, or when you are one of the senior players, I think you do jump in that role, whether you want to be later on or go into the coaching path. I do believe that every senior player does play a little bit of that role in a way. And I've always been really passionate about it, and I did it probably a lot more in the last 2-3 years. The fact that this year I do have that as a role, being assistant coach, it's pretty interesting in a lot of ways, and because you off the pitch you are a coach, like you.
So what does it entail? What are your tasks?
Oh,
people at home won't understand.
Exactly. Being part of the coaching staff.
So the meetings, the preparation.
I'm in the meetings, the preparations, and everything that it's around the coaching stuff, right? But then when it comes to the training session, I'm training next to them, which is good, because then, I have a...
Do you get tackled in the rondos?
No. Actually, yes. I prefer that, right? I prefer that. I think when it's a 50-50, I pull. I don't get into that.
Sure.
I don't get into that.
Last 30 seconds of a training game, mate. You're still going through.
So that's when it comes into the training or the playing part. Yes, as a player, but off the pitch. And even on the pitch, I'm still doing that part, but it's more like the assistant coach. I'm in charge of the, we follow the process from the A-League, and I'm in charge of the set pieces and stuff. So having that opportunity, it's pretty good. It's as you said, as you put it, Paul, like being in that sweet spot. It gives me a completely different view of the game, and also I'm watching with the different lenses. It's not like purely from a football player, but also from like the coaching role, right?
Yeah.
we talk about podcasts and how they can be therapy. I had an idea for a podcast. I'll run it past you guys now.
Go on.
Before we started the Unused
Are we
subs.
Shark Tanking
Am I
this? Do we
in?
get
Am
some-
I
Yeah,
in?
look-
Just in case, eh?
Yeah.
Do we rate it out of 10 or get to invest in it?
Yeah,
Or-
you can tell me it's shit or great or whatever. So
100%.
the idea was that when you're younger, you've got a whole bunch of ideas around what you want to be when you're older. Like,
Yes.
for example, I wanted to dig up dinosaur bones. And so I thought, by drawing dinosaurs, reading about dinosaurs, watching Jurassic Park, I was going to progress to
How old were you?
paleontology. Oh, under the age of 12 or 13.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Right? And then I stumbled upon my media career. Now, I feel like I'm not the only one who would have like an alternate path. And I wanted to sit down with people that are famous in a certain field and then say, well, what about the alternate path that you could have taken? And for you, Emmy, that is being a lawyer in Argentina, but instead you moved to New Zealand at a very young age and you've become a professional footballer and a professional football coach in New Zealand. Like, I find that quite interesting. Can you think back to that time where you moved away from Argentina and what life would have been like had you stayed there?
I thought about it plenty of times, and I cannot go past the day I took the plane. I cannot imagine. And trust me, I spent a lot of time trying to think what my life would have been, but I can't picture it.
Try.
I can't picture it.
Try for us.
I tried for like 16 years.
Did you disappoint anybody when you jumped on the plane? So you finished university in Argentina, is that right?
No.
No.
Yeah.
And then you've been like, nah, I'm off to New Zealand.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I could have done that, mate.
Nah, neither could I. But do you understand, like, my concept
Yeah.
of investigating what you might have been?
It's very, very interesting. I had a phone call over the weekend. A player from New Zealand has been given a professional opportunity. And I'm going to put my words very carefully here, they were like, I wasn't expecting to play professional football. I don't know how to handle this moment. And I think it's really interesting. There's like a freedom in that as well, because you don't have any expectations or milestones to meet. But then when the time comes, you're like, well, what does this mean for me now socially? What are my next 2 years, 3 years going to look like? And the first thing that we did was actually kind of pause and have a look around and be like, okay, what else do we need to do to build alongside this? Because there's some things that you just would have overlooked. But I found that such a fascinating conversation, Ivy, to have this person be like, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm not expecting to be here.
I think it's because of the different timelines, and I think there's every player has got a different career path, and some just become wonder kids overnight. You look at someone like a Max Dowman, for instance, right, for Arsenal, 15 years old, he is playing in the Premier League. Like, I have that conversation with some of the kids I coach, and Emmy will probably be the same. You're coaching guys 15, 16, 17 years old. They're not even playing in the first 11 at school, and yet they want a professional career. And I'm saying, well, look, there's a long way to go here. So I think it must be difficult to navigate those things. I think certainly for myself at my age, when I was coming through, there was no social media. So you're not really comparing yourself to anybody apart from in your immediate area. So for me coming through, I'm looking in the area outside of Brighton. Was I one of the best players in my region? And then if you were, you tick that off, then you go to the next region, the next biggest region, and try and... When you're looking on social media these days, like instant gratification, you're looking on there and you're trying to compare yourself at 15 to Max Dowman. I just don't know how you can do that.
You don't.
It must be so difficult.
You just don't do it, mate. Yeah, you become a lawyer or get into the media. Forget about this football lark. It's not going to work out.
But mate, I
think you're right.
It was such an interesting chat, and the thing that I've always reflected on, and actually Pritchie came up to me and said this the other day, and he was like, he goes, I'm not bitter, and which is great, because I mean, I get a lot of former players that come through and just complain. But he's like, I'm not bitter, but this is like a factual statement. It would have been so nice to have maybe one of the 3 opportunities that now exist in Auckland to play professional football, to be in the pathway. And I'm looking at these kids now and thinking, it's fantastic. Do you think they need to be appreciative of that, Emmy? And it's like a genuine question. I'm not saying like these kids are unappreciative, but do they know how good it is, or do they even have to, is the better question?
I'm not sure if they need to be appreciative or not. It is what it is. It's either you take it or not. Like it's out there for you. But the part that New Zealand yet don't understand is that you need to put the work.
Yeah.
You need to put the work off the field. There's this element in New Zealand that when you play for a club and then you play for 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, whether you do good or not, you know the next season you're going to re-sign for that club. Why? Because you're from the club, you're from the community, you're local. Doesn't matter. Oh, you had a bad year. That's okay. Unlucky. No. Professional club is different. You do good, we'll see about next year. You do really, really good, you stay, or you get another step, right?
Yeah.
If you do bad, you don't turn up, you don't put the work, you're out, mate. You're out. It's very simple.
Your question had shades of like grumpy old man.
That's
sort of like, Spotify, for example. These kids today, they have no idea how easy it is to access music. I was waiting up until 9 p.m. to record my favourite song on the Hot 9 at 9.
Or waiting for the CD to come out.
Yeah, it needed to be a hot rotate song. Otherwise, I was waiting for 3 or 4 hours to record that damn thing.
But that's the beauty of what I think Pritch was getting to. He prefaced it. He said, "Look, mate, we've all been around the guys that are in the bar, that are leaning up against the bar, and they are just grumpy and they're bitter and they're like, you guys have it so much better." He wasn't like that. He was like, "But man, how cool is it that we've got opportunities for these kids coming through?" Which I think was, like, it was such a mature thing to say, and I just really appreciated that he kind of was like, "Hey, man, I know we've been in this conversation before. I'm not going down that path." But Ify, your mate Siggy, he's got a beautiful saying to summarise exactly what Emmy's talking about. The opportunity comes quicker in New Zealand, I think, because it's such a flat pyramid. But Siggy, he's like, you can't be happy with the tracksuit. And I just love that. Like, the work starts when you get the tracksuit, Ify.
Oh, look, I've said it a million times. I mean, I've done it with my own academy, and I've had to have the conversation with parents because the parents want the kids in the tracksuit sometimes more than the kids want the tracksuit. And that's the hardest part. It's like, look, just because you've got the tracksuit doesn't mean anything. That you can actually go and buy one of them off the shelf these days. Now that there's a couple of teams, but I think it's like Emmy's saying, it's the work that goes in behind the scenes, and then it's about timing, especially if you're not in a professional academy. When should you go into that academy? And I do like the way Auckland have set their sort of youth system up, and they're working with the clubs. They're working with 17 clubs, and they'll still stay in their own environment. And when the time is right, they might come in once or twice a week, and it just brings them in at the right time. Everybody's different. Some kids need to come in at 15. Some kids don't need to come in until they're 18 because they're not quite physically ready or they're not mentally ready. And if you get them ready, out of the way of the spotlight and then bring them in, I think it makes things a little bit easier for them too.
In Argentina, you get an opportunity to be in a professional club, you grab that.
Is it competitive in Argentina?
Not sure.
I've heard that it is, yeah. You guys have produced a couple of good players.
Just a couple, mate. Just a couple. But it's when you have an opportunity to be in the professional environment, you grab that with your whole life. You grab that chance, right? Because it might be the only one you have. So in here, people need to understand that if you do have that chance doesn't come by just you being good and then that's it. Oh, I made it. No, you have not made it.
Yeah.
You have not made it. You will make it when you took that chance, you stay there, and you stay in the game consistently for years. That's when you can say, I made it.
Well, let's talk about opportunities and taking those chances, which is what you two gentlemen did way back in 2014 at the FIFA Club World Cup. Morocco, Auckland City FC places third, and it winds up with not only a third placing, but you've got Ivan Visilic standing on a stage with Sergio Ramos and Cristiano Ronaldo.
The best photo, man.
Ivan holding a bronze ball for the third best player in the tournament. Talk to us about that experience.
I think it was like 35, 36.
35, 36?
I think so.
Yeah. Maybe we need to find out.
Oh, you're thinking yourself now, yeah.
No, I'm thinking, he's young.
Yeah.
It's never too late to share a stage with Cristiano and Sergio. Yeah.
it wasn't by fluke. We'd gone to the Club World Cup 4 times preceding that. So it was 3. We'd gone 4 of the last 5 years. And in 2009, we got beyond the knockout phase for the first time, and we actually went on and we won and we came 5th. So we had been working with Ramon as well. So it had been a case of refinement for such a long time. Emmy, mate, just give people a taste, because I feel like I bring this up often. How high is the jump from New Zealand National League to going and playing the champions of Japan or the champions of Morocco or the champions of Dubai?
You feel that people around you are running at a different speed.
Yeah.
It's like if you're in Wellington and you go and you take a scooter and you go up the hill, and then suddenly there's a BMW that drives past you.
It's got poor life.
That's what it feels like. That's exactly what it feels like.
No, because you're running
and
uphill.
you're like,
so
and you're
hard.
going against the wind in Wellington and
Who's
raining.
running uphill? I'm certainly not running uphill.
And then it's like a BMW just run past you. Well, that's what it feels like.
Oh,
but
man.
with the difference that we were very well prepared for that. We were extremely well prepared.
But if these players are like that much more advanced than you guys, how did you... I'm not going to rip on you, mate.
No, I've got a story. I've got a story.
How do you actually compete with them?
So I remember we were playing KIWI Resource. So that's when I had that shocking game up in Japan. And Ramon is giving us the preparation, the last briefing. And he's going, guys, Japanese, they're all going to be under 5'10". We're going to have an advantage at set pieces.
Yes.
We're going to be so much taller. Ify, do you know who the right back was for KIWI Resource? Hiroki Sakai. 6'3",
Big unit.
right back, marauding down, and he's not crossing, mate. He's shooting for the near post from the touchline.
You got some bad intel, didn't
We
you?
got some bad intel there, Ramon.
No one. There was
I
not
thought
one
6'3".
short-
I thought it was 5'3".
We're in the tunnel. We're in the tunnel.
And they had the long coats, those Japanese long coats.
The penguins.
If you put any of those coats on us, it would cover like fully.
on the floor. I remember we turned around and looked up, and the only one that was shorter than our players was the goalkeeper.
Oh, dear.
And the goalkeeper pulled out this unbelievable top-hand save. But going back to the actual question, the game is so much faster and the thinking is so much faster. That's how simply I can put it. You have to be prepared for what's going to happen in an alternative, and then maybe something that's extreme that can be pulled out of anywhere, because you're playing some unbelievable players.
It's just like I don't know how to like it.
You have momentum.
I already explained what it felt. That's how it feels on the pitch. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
You feel slow. You like everything. It goes at a different speed.
And from a player's perspective, where you are the BMW, how does it feel to play against players who are beneath you?
on a tricycle going uphill.
But I can talk about it from both ways, because I think I look at it, and when I look back on my career, I'd cracked it in the Championship, and I was a good Championship player. Like, there was a lot of talk about me getting moves to the Premier League. Then we ended up getting into the Premier League with Sheffield United. So I've gone into the Premier League thinking, well, I was arguably getting to the point where I was one of the better players in the Championship. Surely this can't be too big a step up. And I've told this story before, but we played, my debut in the Premier League was against Liverpool. And I was playing right midfield, or right wing. And John Arne Riise was playing left back. And I'd watched John Arne Riise, and I thought, okay defender, he's better going forward. Definitely not as quick as me. So when I get it, I'm going to push it out of my feet, and I'm going to run past him. And anyway, early on in the game, ball comes to me. John Arne Riise comes steaming in, and I'm like, right, I'm going to take a little touch to my right, and I'm going to push it and run him. So I pushed it and ran him, and I'm taking off. And then I look, and John Arne Riise has got a big smile on his face. He's jogging next to me, and then he puts a big arm out across me, sort of little mans me, and just runs off. And I'm just like, oh shit, I'm not as quick as I thought I was at this level. Yeah, no, but it was, and I think, to Emmy's point, everything happens a little bit quicker than you are used to. So not only are the players quicker and stronger than you've ever been used to, but they do things way quicker. And again, talking about myself a bit too much here, but going back to the FA Cup final, Roy Keane was in that, heavily injured, shouldn't have been playing. And I remember thinking, we're going to be able to nick the ball off for a kick. Never gave the ball away because he just knew the minute you got close to him, he'd play one touch, and then when he's got a bit of time, he'll take 2 touches, suck you in, find somebody spare, and they just all knew what they were doing before they'd even received the ball. It was like a proper chess player that has already seen what's going on the board. They know that you're going to fall into the trap, and then they know exactly what they're going to do with the ball, and you just like. And that day for me, I remember thinking, shit, I've got such a long way to go if I want to be playing in the Premier League for any period of time. There's a lot of work I need to do, like physically, mentally, and I never quite cracked it because I just couldn't do the work.
And I do want to add something in there. That's what it feels like playing 11 players that the week before, going into Morocco, we played against Team Wellington and lost 4-0, right?
Oh,
that was our last game.
Right. Yeah, we got ripped
We
apart.
played against Team Wellington, lost 4-0, and we went into Morocco, right? So that now when you have 11 players that compete in the New Zealand league and where everyone is equal, right? And then you make this jump, yes, it does feel like this. Now, when you bring individual players into that environment, yes, it's going to take some time to adjust. And it has been proven that a lot of players have left this environment, like the New Zealand environment, and put into like a professional environment, and they adjusted and adapted. So that is the difference. Now, what I do believe is that in New Zealand, we do have a lot of players that are pro material to that level and sustain that performance for many, many years. And it has been, there's a lot of cases.
When we do get it right, Marko Stamenic, Ryan Thomas, Matt Garbutt. So I think to your point, combine the ability with the perseverance and then the Kiwi mentality, it's got value.
And then you can make it. Not only that you can make it, but you can stay there and sustain your performance at that level. But when you put these two teams that we were used to compete in here, and then go and make us play at that level, then of course it does feel, that gap is probably bigger than what it is.
Coming back to the point though, so we've gone and we've beaten, I can't even remember their name, the Moroccan champions. We've then been Essatif, who were the African champions. And then we've got the small case of coming up against
San Lorenzo, Copa Libertadores from South America. Huge.
Mate, they were big as well. Like I don't think people
bigger than the Japanese players.
Oh,
yeah, but they had players that play already World Cups. So it's the South American champions. Like
that's insane, eh?
Do
you know what's more insane? We could have made the final.
Yeah.
I always say, Emmy owes me half a kitchen. I had to pay cash for my half a kitchen.
It has never affected me at all. And I always said it. It's never affected me. I missed a chance. Playing semi-final against San Lorenzo, I grew up watching these players. We started the game, we 1-0 down, and we were playing really, really good. Yes. We were at times we're dominating. I
think we got up to like 63% position in the first half or something crazy.
Yeah, we were playing really good. We got the equalizer, Angel Berlanga's goal. I never understood why was he there. I said, you are the worst right back ever. Because his goal, I was teasing him because he's called from a position that as a right back, you should never be there.
Oh my God. He's got a ball's width to get this ball in on, by the way.
Yeah, unbelievable finish. Wide. Unbelievable finish. Anyway, put us back into the game. We 1-1. They had the fullbacks that the year after, they went to play for Boca Juniors. So both of them. The coach was telling them, 80th minute, don't go forward, just stay. And I'm thinking, mate, you're playing Auckland City.
We lost to Team Wellington 4-0
2 weeks ago.
That's like Ramon. They probably didn't do the intel right.
And I was like, I was thinking, and I remember telling one of the players, I was like, mate, you San Lorenzo, like you're playing against Auckland City. 82nd minute, up like on our attacking third, Ryan De Vries recovered the ball.
Yeah, he
regained the ball. He regains the ball. He goes press, regains the ball, pass the ball to me, and I'm one-on-one with the goalkeeper outside the box. I control the ball, and in my mind, I go easy. I take a touch, finish. I do take a touch. The goalkeeper comes, and he gives me the first post, and I go easy. As I'm about to kick, when I kick, you can see in the replay, you might not gonna put that. I know you're not gonna put that shot. The ball bounces, and I kick the ball.
It doesn't miss
But-
by much though, huh?
I missed the goal by like
it's not that much.
5-6 meters. Like, even if I tried to do that, I wouldn't be able to do it. So I missed that chance. And I go, it is what it is. You know, that's football. Next day, I'm flying back to Argentina, and all the fans are in the same plane. And then one of them, I met it on the toilet, and he comes to me and he goes, Tade, thank you very much for missing that. For missing that chance.
To be fair, if you didn't miss the chance, I wouldn't be playing. So we played Colo Colo, I got on, happy
I
days.
was like, you know, in order to be able to mock up, you got to be able to be there as well.
Yeah.
So the ones that misses are the ones that are there,
Yeah, it's a
right? Like,
yeah, we'll roll with that, Ify. It's a privilege to make
That's
a
a good
mistake,
attitude.
mate.
Yeah, I like that attitude.
Do you know what something
Yeah, it is.
I realized the other day? So Ify, we're going up to get our medals, the bronze medals, third place medals, and there's a child on stage, and no one knows who that child is. And so it's like dignitary, head of FIFA, head of AFC, and everyone's going along and shaking this kid's hand, just being really polite. Mario Berlin goes up to him. I think he tries to give him a hug and then pats him on the head. It's the Moroccan crown prince. And he's the same guy that was at AFCON the other day. Now he's like 25 or whatever. And I was like, I know that guy. Why do I know that guy? And I was like, oh my God, it's the guy that
no one said anything.
Whoops.
You know?
Yeah.
Exactly.